And Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now. He's trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you are a key part of this.
This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement.
Because they were trying to take over the movie.
Yeah.
They were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise.
A rumor is growing fast that Robert Downey Jr. is having trouble on the set of his new Avengers film with Ryan Reynolds.
Jr. demanded reshoot. Behind the scenes issues with the actors are due to a clash of egos. Jeff Snyder claims that the production on Avengers Doomsday faced major setbacks involving Robert Downey Jr.
This has been a labor of love getting this made.
Yeah, it's been the best and worst relationship I've ever been in. It's 11 years. 11 years I've been trying to get this movie made.
Marvel said we'll shoot your scenes separately, or we'll figure it out in some other way.
To come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding. And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone usually just bows down.
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, they're the queen. 20
that's Taikiti.
Please tell me Mr. Ramos is not replacing me as Dr. Doom via Parker Robbins. Is there something you're not telling me? Anyway, I don't want to step on your...
The cameras may have been rolling on Marvel's most ambitious film since Endgame, but the real drama wasn't happening on screen. It was unfolding behind the scenes. Rumors began surfacing that Ryan Reynolds had an explosive moment with Robert Downey Jr. during production of Avengers Doomsday. For most fans, it was shocking enough to imagine Deadpool and Iron Man clashing off screen. But when Joe Rogan heard about the incident, he didn't laugh it off. He tore into Reynolds with a roasting that left no doubt about where the blame truly belonged. From the very beginning, Joe made one thing clear. Robert Downey Jr. is the backbone of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Without him, there's no Iron Man, no Avengers, no multi-billion-dollar franchise. Downey rebuilt his career, carried Marvel for over a decade, and became a symbol of discipline and redemption. So when whispers spread that Reynolds had freaked out on Downey during filming, Rogan's outrage was instant. He saw Reynolds not as a playful prankster, but as an arrogant disruptor who had crossed a line you simply don't cross. Rogan roasted Reynolds for letting his ego get in the way of professionalism. He painted a picture of Reynolds walking onto a set filled with legends, Downey, Jackman, and others, and instead of showing respect, bringing chaos. You don't freak out on Robert Downey Jr., Rogan said. That's like a rookie fighter yelling at a champion in the gym. You don't do that unless you've lost your mind. The audience erupted because everyone knew what he meant. Reynolds had built his brand on humor, sarcasm, and poking fun. But when that turned into outright disrespect toward Downey, it crossed the line. The story Rogan broke down was this. Marvel was already facing enormous pressure. The budget was astronomical, the stakes were sky high, and the studio desperately needed Avengers Doomsday to prove the MCU wasn't losing steam. Downey was back, Jackman was returning, and every detail was scrutinized. Then came Reynolds. Instead of bringing harmony, he allegedly lashed out at Downey over creative differences. Insiders claimed the exchange wasn't just a sharp joke, it was a heated moment where Reynolds lost his cool. For Rogan, that was unforgivable. That's Robert Downey Jr. you're talking to, man, the guy who made all this possible. Who do you think you are? Rogan tore into Reynolds' pattern of behaviors. He pointed out how Reynolds thrives on stirring attention with cryptic social media posts, late-night stunts, and constant trolling. That strategy may work in marketing, but on a production of this scale, it was reckless. Rogan said Reynolds treated the set like a comedy skit, while Downey treated it like sacred ground. One guy's protecting the craft, the other guy's chasing headlines. Guess which one fans actually respect? He compared it to what happens in comedy clubs. You've got a veteran comic, a legend who paved the way. Then you've got a younger guy who thinks trolling the veteran will get him laughs. Maybe it gets attention in the moment, but in the long run, it only exposes arrogance. Rogan explained that Reynolds freaking out on Downey wasn't just bad optics. It was proof that Reynolds couldn't handle the weight of being part of something bigger than himself. The roasting got harsher as Rogan imagined how the scene must have played out. Downey, calm and collected, standing his ground. Reynolds cracking under pressure, raising his voice and losing the respect of everyone watching. That's not strength, Rogan said. That's insecurity. That's a guy who can't stand being in the shadow of someone greater. He argued Reynolds wasn't built for the discipline Marvel demanded, and his meltdown exposed that truth for the world to see. And it didn't stop there. Rogan blasted Reynolds for risking the future of the MCU over his ego. Marvel's audience was already skeptical after years of shaky projects. Doomsday was supposed to be the comeback, the movie that reignited excitement. But Reynolds' behavior shifted the narrative. Instead of fans talking about the story, they were talking about the feud. Instead of excitement, there was doubt. You know how insane that is? Rogan asked. One guy's ego might tank an entire franchise. He also called out the hypocrisy of Reynolds trying to position himself as Marvel's new golden boy while tearing down the man who built it. Downey earned everything, Rogan said. Reynolds just memes his way into relevance. And when the pressure hits, he folds. That line hit hard because it summed up exactly why fans were so unsettled by the rumors. Downey had endured personal battles, rebuilt his career, and carried Marvel on his shoulders. Reynolds, meanwhile, seemed to treat it all like a game. The roast took an even darker turn when Rogan compared Reynolds to other stars who let ego destroy projects. He reminded listeners of how feuds like Vin Diesel versus The Rock nearly wrecked Fast and Furious. Studios had to rearrange entire films just to keep the actors apart. Do you want Marvel to be the next Fast franchise? Rogan asked. All because one guy couldn't keep his cool? He warned that if Marvel really did have to film Downey and Reynolds separately, it would be a disaster not just financially, but symbolically. The heart of Rogan's rant came down to respect. Robert Downey Jr. isn't just another co-star, he's the foundation of the MCU. Freaking out on him, especially in front of cast and crew, wasn't just disrespectful, it was reckless. That's like screaming at the coach who built the team, Rogan said. You don't just lose the argument, you lose the locker room. And that's exactly what Reynolds risked. The respect of his peers, the loyalty of fans, and the future of Marvel's most important project. As Rogan kept piling on, he pointed out the ripple effects of Reynolds' meltdown. Every crew member, every younger actor on set now had to navigate the tension. Instead of focusing on their roles, they were watching a superstar crack under pressure. Rogan argued this poisoned the entire atmosphere. When the set becomes about drama instead of discipline, everybody loses. He also mocked Reynolds' obsession with controlling the narrative online. Every time a rumor broke, Reynolds seemed to fan the flames with sly posts or ironic jokes. Rogan said it looked desperate, like Reynolds was trying to spin the story instead of facing it. You can't meme your way out of this one, he said. Freaking out on Robert Downey Jr. is not a good look, no matter how many Instagram posts you drop. The roasting session ended with Rogan issuing a warning. If Marvel stumbled, if Avengers Doomsday didn't deliver, the blame wouldn't fall on Downey or Jackman, it would fall on Reynolds. His freakout would be remembered as the moment the MCU began to unravel. You can't put ego above the art, Rogan said, Jerry. And worry not orange brick showed the world. He doesn't get that. By the time Rogan wrapped up, Reynolds' reputation had been shredded. The message was clear. His meltdown on Downey wasn't just a rumor, it was a symbol of arrogance, insecurity, and everything wrong with Hollywood's obsession with attention. Downey was the craftsman, Reynolds was the chaos. And if Marvel suffered, it would be because Ryan Reynolds let his ego run wild.